Unit 731 was a covert biological and chemical warfare research unit of the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. While the true extent of their experiments and the horrors inflicted upon their subjects may never be fully known, historical accounts and testimonies have shed light on the atrocities committed. It's important to note that the following account contains distressing details. Operating in the Pingfang district of Harbin, China, Unit 731 conducted experiments on both civilian and military prisoners, mostly Chinese, Korean, and Russian individuals. These experiments aimed to develop biological weapons, study the effects of diseases, and find effective methods of biological warfare. Prisoners were subjected to a range of nightmarish procedures without any regard for human rights or ethical considerations. Vivisections were performed on conscious victims, where organs and limbs were removed without anesthesia. This allowed the researchers to observe the effects of the procedures on the human body. Other experiments involved injecting subjects with diseases, including bubonic plague, anthrax, and cholera. These diseases were deliberately introduced to observe their progression and develop countermeasures. Prisoners were also exposed to lethal doses of radiation, poisonous gases, and subjected to freezing and hypothermia tests. Unit 731 also conducted experiments involving the testing of weapons on live subjects. Grenades filled with biological agents were detonated, causing widespread destruction and death. The goal was to assess the effectiveness of these weapons in real-world scenarios. In addition to the physical torment, psychological experiments were carried out to study the effects of extreme stress on human behavior. Prisoners were subjected to extreme temperatures, forced to endure inhumane conditions, and exposed to extreme psychological trauma. Unit 731 operated with utmost secrecy, and upon Japan's surrender in 1945, efforts were made to destroy evidence of their activities. Some of the researchers involved in these experiments went on to hold prominent positions in academia and industry, shielding them from accountability for their actions. It was only in the decades following the war that information about Unit 731 began to surface. Testimonies from former members, as well as surviving victims, shed light on the extent of the atrocities committed within its walls. These revelations sparked international outrage and led to calls for justice. However, due to geopolitical considerations and a desire to gain scientific knowledge from the research, many of the personnel involved in Unit 731 were granted immunity in exchange for sharing their findings with the Allied powers. The historical account of Unit 731 serves as a chilling reminder of the depths humanity can sink to in times of war and the importance of acknowledging and learning from the darkest chapters of our history.